about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity.
Is the mic working? Yes. Good evening, model citizens. The show is not starting off as it should be. It seems that I hit my pre-show script running thing twice, so nothing worked. The countdown didn't work. The automation taking me nothing worked, so if you want to know how tonight's stream is going to go, I'd say this is about how it's going to go. Tonight on the schedule, if I make it through tonight, is we're going to talk about some items that I've purchased. We are going to do another giveaway of a late night hobby kit, same that we did last week, and also we'll show some of the photos that I took from Island Ops 2024. And yes, that shark photo was from Island Ops, and it looks like I don't know, man. Something is just it's going to be one of those shows. That's all I got to say. I don't know what is this, the light this light is bothering me to make that light stop. Okay, somebody keep their hand right here for the whole show. I think that would be very helpful if someone could do that. Jerry, you and John need to come up here and do a little op session. What are you guys doing tomorrow? Yeah. There will be a little bit of a slideshow tonight if things go as planned. If things don't go as planned, maybe I'll build a bookshelf. We'll see what it's gonna take. I see a big sign in the back. Oh, it's funny. So I normally just have all the lights on, but for whatever reason, because I have these bluer lights on in the background, that plexiglass is just glowing. So Roy Hardwick bought me that plexiglass, but the letters that are on it were created by Andy Estep, and it was kind of funny the way it was there last week too, but nobody noticed it because it I don't know, it didn't quite glow like it did previously. What happened with the tech was, yeah, so if you stick all the way to the end of the stream, it might become a little bit more clear as to why I might be a little bit off today, but let's just look at okay, so giveaway. We gave away a kit from Late Night Hobbies last week. I think if I'm doing things correctly, in the chat, it is hopefully going to show at some point, hopefully it'll pop up the link for Late Night Hobbies. I don't know. The way things are going, I don't know what's going to happen. But late Night Hobbies, we're going to do another giveaway. Jub, as I found out, his first name is actually Jason. I think if I'm getting that right. But Jub won and chose the Style A kit last week. So there are 3 other kits available. At the end of the stream, we will give those away. Oh, Jub said it's his wife's birthday. There you go. We're not entering yet. The giveaway hasn't started. We'll do the same thing as before. We'll run the giveaway. You'll see it all pop up. Hopefully it'll work as planned. And when I say as planned, we all know that I've got a problem, so I don't know how well it's going to work. I am trying to, let's see, timers. All right, it looks like the timers run when live, randomized timers. Okay, so the timer should run, so hopefully it should pop those up. And let me get back to the giveaway. I have a problem. Yes, I've bought more stuff. It happens. If you don't know, Train World is having a sale, and I actually bought this stuff last week or a week and a half ago. They have increased the sale again, added some more items. A lot of people are excited because you can get a Broadway limited imports P5A for $99, but I'm trying not to buy one of those. I don't need one of those. I already have one of those, so I'm not doing that. You could always go to Iron Planet Hobbies for the discount. There is a good discount if you use Human over there. They're always having some sort of sale, and you know, yeah. Joey has it right. Just don't go to their sites. So one of the things that I thought was interesting, though, with my purchase from Train World is Athearn, best I can tell, I think they've repackaged their N scale stuff. So this is how everything came. And I didn't remember it having this this outer sleeve. I just remember the I gotta look. I thought I had other Athearn cars, but they've got the jewel cases inside. And what I like buying are cars that are easily identifiable cars when they're on the layout. I don't want people to have to be reading the numbers. I want people to easily say, like, oh, like that is the milk car. Who is the guy on the box car in the black and white? I don't know the answer. I don't know what we're talking about. Dave says they've been doing sleeves for a while. See, it shows you what I know. I don't know that I buy a lot of Athearn stuff. I've been buying a bunch of micro trains and a bunch of Atlas stuff. But these looked great for what I want to do on the layout. So, oh, jeez, just knocking things over. Too much stuff. But like this one is a Reed Ice Cream Corporation. So I got one of those. This one is a milk car. So the idea being is if you come over to operate, it'll be very easy to identify the cars because they've all got, you know, pretty identifiable wording and everything on them. This one is Alderney Dairy Company. These tend to all be dairy. So the other reason I got the dairy stuff, and Andy Estep is probably going to have to, nope, Andy's going to have to help me with the history here. But in New York City, the West Side Line, if you went all the way to the south end of the West Side Line, I think it was called maybe St. John's Terminal or something like that. And there was a lot of milk that was delivered to that terminal. And if you ever get the chance to see Dave Ramos and him talk about his layout, there's a dairy facility on his layout, on the south side of his layout. I don't have a dairy facility, but dairy and this style of car, these 40-foot box cars with, you know, dairy in them, would have been seen on this branch line around this time, shipping stuff down to the terminal. I'm not sure why Joey is saying it's funny. I think it's funny just because I am lactose intolerant, so I am very intolerant to these cars. But I picked up this series of cars. Manhattanville had milk processing as well. Prentice Hall, now a Columbia building, was a Sheffield plant. So there was, you know, New York, people were drinking a lot of dairy. There were a lot of dairy deliveries. So when I saw that Athearn was making these cars, I jumped in, and yeah, I love the billboard cars. I do believe the meatpacking district was supplied by rail. If you go down to the Highline now, you can see the meatpacking buildings right along the High Line with the racks that they used to take the meat and everything off of the High Line, off of the rail cars. So here's some other stuff that I got. This is from a company called Iowa Scaled Engineering. I picked up 2 of these DCC to DC adapters. It's a very simple circuit. You could probably make it yourself. My understanding is it's just a bridge rectifier and a capacitor. Basically takes that square wave of DCC and chops out the squareness and the flipping polarity of it and makes it DC so that you can hook up DC devices right to your DCC bus line. So I got 2 of these. The reason that I got 2 of these was because I have, which is not what this is, but I have a Squealer. I actually have 2 Squealers. And what I want to do is I only want to have the Squealers on when the track power's on. So I'm going to use these little guys here so that I can power the Squealers from DCC power. It doesn't rob power, it robs amperage, right? So as long as you're monitoring your amperage and you're not over the amperage of the if you're not over the amperage of your booster, you're fine. I did also get, one of the other things I got is these guys here. These are relays. So what I could also do is if it does pull too much amperage, which I don't think it will, but I could put one of these relays in. I can't figure out how to open this package. I'm having problems. What's new? I could put one of these relays in line. So using this device to convert to DC, I can run DC into the relay, and then I can power these from a separate power source. I know, a little bit confusing. But why did I buy just the train spotter motion detector and not the whole squealer? It's because I already have the squealers. But I already have them somewhere. I don't know where they are. Here they are. Here's one of them. But I wanted to put a squealer on either end of the track here. I wanted one in this corner over here. I wanted one in that corner over there. The one in that corner over there is easy because it is a single track. So there is one sensor, one squealer, one track. Everything works out. The problem with this corner over here is that there are two tracks side by side. So I was trying to figure out which one of those tracks I should put the squealer on, because I didn't want to buy an entire second squealer just for that second track. And then what I remembered is that you can hook up multiple sensors to one squealer. So I said, well, I've got a double main line essentially, or I've got a main line and a yard track that go around the corner there. So I said, if I just get a second detector, I could use one squealer with two detectors and power off of the two separate tracks. So, you know, again, not things that I necessarily need. I don't know how these things are going to necessarily make my life better or not, but as I mentioned, I do have a problem. So, you know, I have so many more boxcars on this layout. I don't know why I'm buying more. I still don't know that. For the uneducated, what is a squealer? So when a rail car goes around a corner, the wheels don't turn, right? So what the wheels do is essentially they rub against the rail. So you have steel against steel rubbing and they squeal. The way it used to be solved is that there were sounds put in like the locomotives, or you could put something in a boxcar that would make that squealing sound. The problem is that it didn't then emanate from your, curve. Yes, a curve, not a corner. Well, yeah, a curve, a corner. I know. A curve, a track curve. So it squeals going around the curve. So what Iowa Scaled Engineering did is, instead of putting the sound in the boxcar, the sound now lives on your railroad, and the sensor that they have can sense motion. So when you stop the train over that area of the track, it won't keep making that screeching, squealing sound, but when the train is moving across it, it'll squeal. So they call it a squealer. One of the layouts I went to this weekend for Island Ops has two squealers on either side of the layout, which is kind of fun. It doesn't need to be on an, what do you mean by an isolated track? It doesn't need to be an isolated track. It can be on any track. Theoretically, it would be on a curved track, because that tends to be when they squeal. If you have a really, really long curved track, you can have multiple sensors along the one track. My curves are corners. You can kind of see that. I don't have the camera set up, so I can't really show you, but you know, my curves are in a corner, so it's a very tight area. So I only need really one sensor. No, the way the squealer works is from the sensor. So this So what it is it is a sound module. It is an Iowa Scaled Engineering sound module with their train spotter sensor. So this sensor here gets mounted under, let's see, go this way. The sensor gets mounted under the track. And when the train crosses over that sensor, then it triggers this device to play the sound on this speaker. So it's the same speaker from their like crossing bell and cicada sounds. If you have the Mini Prince toilet flush, it's the same sort of sound thing as well. I don't think it's... my understanding is it works like an optical mouse works. So it works like an optical mouse. I don't exactly know how an optical mouse works. I don't know if it's infrared or what it is or how that all works. But it might be IR for all I know. Who else makes sound modules? I need some seagull noises. I'm not sure. It might be IR, Dennis. I have no idea either. Who else makes sound modules? I do know that the sound modules that Iowa Scaled Engineering uses are made by Scale Sounds. Is that what they're called? As well? I'm not really sure. Uh-oh. Mini Prince might be throwing down some information there. There might be a Seagull sound module coming soon. So the other piece of the sensors on the boxcar, no. It just, when the boxcar moves over it, it just senses the motion. Kind of like, I don't have a... I use trackballs. I don't use mice. But think about like a mouse that you use on your computer. How it like it pushes. You know, the light comes out the bottom of the mouse, and when it moves around on a mouse pad, how like it moves the mouse around. Well, it's doing the same thing. There is nothing. There is nothing on the boxcars. That's the advantage of this device. There are no. If your mouse has a ball in it, oh, you have an old school mouse. There you go. It's probably reflective IR. Yeah, so you put the IR detectors down in between the rails. Yeah, there's a lot of that these days. Yeah, so Scale Trains Athearn Broadway Limited too. I think this is the latest one. Yeah, so this is one of the Broadway Limited sound cars that I have. It is a Acme Glue Factory stock car, and it's got horse sounds in it. So as it travels around the layout, it plays horse sounds. Because it's a glue car. Get it? Get it? Sounds like an easy standalone install. It is, and that was what Iowa Scaled Engineering was working towards. Was you know, it'll work with basically any of your cars. Any car you put on your layout, anything you change to the layout, the Squealer still works, and that's what makes it, you know, cost effective. There are install videos out there on the web if you look around. Yeah, I know. I thought it was funny. Did narrow gauge trains squeal? Probably. Nathan, I actually had Tim from They Make It Like That. He did some graffiti on some cars for me. The other cars that I have with graffiti, well, it's not really graffiti, but it's graffiti-esque on them, are these cars that Tammy from Mom and Son Train Rail Fans did, which are these in honor of autism. So she painted these up for me. I'm still deciding what the best thing to do. I do actually have one of these to give away as well. Maybe two of them to give away as well, but as you guys may or may not know, I've had some issues with the computer stuff, so we're doing giveaways again. There is going to be a Late Night Hobbies giveaway later on in tonight's stream. So I did just realize here are some Athearn cars that I got that didn't come in a sleeve. This is a 50-foot PS1 boxcar, not in a sleeve. So I don't know, maybe they took the sleeve off, but I don't know. What was Wigwag's good idea? Yeah, Tim from They Make It Like That has done graffiti on some cars for me. I think they're up there right now, so I'm not going to try and find them and pull them down. You can't win yet. You can't win yet. A narrow gauge modeler has multiple squealers on his layout. All right, so what are we looking at here? What are we trying to do? What's next? We are going to look at the Island Ops slideshow. Why don't we get into that, shall we? Is anyone else as confused about today's show as I am? There are multiple audio files. Okay, so the way it works. So the way ISE makes the sound files specifically for the Squealer is that the sound files play consistently. So it is like a set of sound files. And when the train runs over the sensor, it brings the volume up, and then when the train stops moving, it brings the volume down. Yes, I'm confused as well, Don. So the Squealer, different kind of squealing, Paul. So the sound files are always playing, and it's just raising the volume and turning the volume down. So the sounds are kind of random. It's not like every time a train car runs over, it starts from the beginning of a sound file and plays. You can also, there is on the device, on the Squealer device, there is an SD card slot. So you could theoretically put any sounds you would like, wave files, onto an SD card, put it in here, and then you could technically have the Squealer play any sounds that you want. So if you want there to be, I don't know, city sounds or whatever when the train goes over the Squealer, you can just change the sound files. I don't know. We didn't discuss the money. I do not have a discount for these from Iowa Scaled Engineering. I only have a discount for the Motorman. You can, if you buy a Motorman from Iowa Scaled Engineering, use the code HUMAN, you can get a discount. These are listed as $79. They do sell a 3-pack as well when they have them in stock also. Is there an output for LEDs? I don't know. This is an ESP32 based board. So you probably could, I don't see anything that indicates LEDs on it, although there are LEDs on it, but I don't see a way to wire up LEDs. But there are other solutions for this stuff. So They likely won't do a code for me for the Squealer because they are always out of stock. They are a very, very hot seller of theirs as well. Huh. Who is on the NMRA account that is joining us? I don't know who that could be. Okay, so let's talk about Island Ops. I went to Island Ops again. I'm trying to remember which. Here we go. That screen. I went to Island Ops again this year. This was my second year at Island Ops. Last year when I went to Island Ops, I had maybe 4, maybe 5 months of operations under my belt, so I was very, very new. Since last year, I've been doing a lot of operating. I've been trying to operate as much as possible. So I went in with a lot more knowledge about operations, which allowed me to experience things, I guess, in a different way. So I did go to one new layout. The new layout that I went to was John Faraka's Stone Canyon layout. John considers his layout a proto-freelance layout. It is, he models prototypical railroads, but all of the towns and everything are freelance. John is a master model railroader. John does a lot of, let me get rid of my face, you don't need to see my face. John has a lot of really incredible buildings and structures and modeling and all kinds of stuff on his layout. So just to kind of look at some of the pictures, this area here I thought was really brilliant. This is a logging camp, and this logging camp connected to the rest of the layout through a single track, basically like I can turn this back on for a second. So like a 6-inch wide run of track that went along the wall. This was right below the layout. So this was one job where the person would take and work this logging area back and forth. One thing I did really like about John's layout as well is that there was a lot of space. So this is more West Coast, not East Coast. So there's a lot of space between all of the various buildings and items like that. This right here, there's a little flat rock right here on the layout, which is designating the town, which is the town of Flat Rock. This town on the other side was actually called Small Fork. So he has Small Fork next to Flat Rock. There are a lot of ops areas on the layout, but when he started building the layout, it wasn't initially intended to be for operations. As he added onto the layout, he built it more and more specifically for operations as he went. Here's a great example of the, the plains out west, I guess. What is the plan? I'm missing things. I'm trying to read the chat, but, Quick, someone do the math about the scale weight of the rock. That'd be pretty good. This, some of the areas are just nice, wide open areas. You can see again here, I think this, so this was the other end of the logging camp. Let's see, can you see, I don't know if you can see my my mouse or not, but on the right side of this picture is where it drops down to 6 inches. So that very first photo that I showed is the other end of this. So there's this area, and then on the other side is that other logging area with a single track that runs between the two of them. I took a lot of photos of this layout. This was my first time here. I was, more relaxed, enjoying the running of the trains. We ran a lot of locals. So you take a train out of the yard, do a bunch of switching, do a turn, and come back to the yard. On the very right side here again, this is the spur that connects the main layout to the logging area. This here, though, is one of the towns, one of the, kind of turn back loops on the layout. He does have the ability to do continuous running on the layout. This this layout is very far out on Long Island. That is true. He is a part of an ops group that operates on Thursday nights. There are several layouts way out on Long Island of this scale and level and completion, and they've got a round robin on Thursday nights where they all get together and operate as well. So here's looking at that town from the other side. The logging camp is at the far end of the town. Just some really nice details, the people waiting for the buses. This is an HO scale DCC layout. There is a dispatcher, but it is not CTC. It is a little bit more of kind of a mother may I or a dispatcher may I. The operations on the layout was very relaxed. It wasn't, there weren't like 600 trains and everything was coming at you from different directions. It was a very nice, I think there were maybe 6 operators. I don't remember exactly, but it was a very good night of just, relaxing sessions. This session was on Friday night. So I left the city at about 2:30 and I got out there at about 6 o'clock. So pretty far out on the island. A lot of it had to do with Friday night traffic. This is what a lot of his panels look like. There were toggle switches showing the various switches. Obviously, you switch up for diverging, on some cases or whatever. But it was pretty well laid out and easy to understand once you got a sense of the layout. It was pretty easy to figure out. Yes, I did rent a car. Drove out Friday night. Had the car on Saturday. Returned the car Saturday morning returned the car Saturday night. Because Sunday, the layout I operated on was one that was close to me that I could get to via the subway. Thank you, Mr. Pictovid. If you guys didn't know, up at Amherst this past weekend, they had a large scale train show. So if you're into the larger scales, Andrew at Mr. Pictovid was over there, did a bunch of videos from that event. So check that out. He mostly does G-scale stuff, but sometimes he lets us N-scalers talk to him as well. So large scale is O scale and up usually. So they had O scale and G scale and probably some other stuff as well. The drive itself wasn't exactly 4 hours. I did stop a bit here or there. I went to the hotel and checked in before, but yeah, it's a trip out there for sure. Okay, so I got 75 slides, so let's keep going. Again, a lot of custom built kits here on this layout. I like the simplicity of the scenery. You can see like the rusted chains sitting on the deck. So Nice details there. Oh, here's Ward's Furniture Bonanza. I don't know, a lot of the buildings on his layout was named after modelers in the area. I don't know if this was named after Jeff Ward or not named after Jeff Ward, but it could have been. Jeff's one of the modelers in our area. A lot of his cars had some really, really nice weathering on them, but this scene, I just thought the composition of this scene with the rocks in the foreground and then the autumn trees going around the back, kind of drawing your line around. It's just a well done laid out, well done planned scenery. There were some guys taking naps on the layout every once in a while, but here are some guys sharpening some axes while this one guy takes a little bit of a nap next to the stone wheel. Oh, good point there, Jerry. I don't know if I have a photo of it, but his layout had some really nice bright lighting, as well as nice lighting valences that helped keep the light over the layout and not as much in the aisles. So it really helped to focus the lighting on the layout itself. Here's another example. This cop obviously seen better days. This cop standing up is like, why are you laying down on the job as well? But again here, like, just some nice little detailed vignettes. This guy running by on the neighborhood with the two women talking on the porch. He also did have a fairly large-sized turntable and roundhouse on the layout as well. He had a nice city scene up along the back. This was the only area where the telephone poles still had the wires run. He did have most of the wiring run at one point, but over time the material he was using degraded a bit. So the only area that still has it is the city. There was a switch on the layout that I kept turning on, which turned on all of the lights in the city as well, which looked really nice. Here's a little bit of a coal tower area, dumping the coal into, I think this might have been a big boy if I'm not mistaken. He definitely had a big boy on the layout. We did run it as well. Yeah, he is exactly. The two railroads that were prominent were ATSF as well as Union Pacific. Those were the two main railroads that he modeled. And yes, all of his backdrops were painted, which were pretty cool. Here's a nice loading dock area. Ma's place with the cops hanging out. Really impressed. Just the detail that went into these little vignettes. Here a little bit of construction going on out front of this building next to the fire station. Nice little details. Here was, I was running this ATSF 2099. Somebody else was running this 7002. They were passing each other. I tried to get a picture as they went past. Little Fork is on the right. Flat Rock is on the left. We were leaving Little Fork, going to do some work over in Flat Rock. These guys do have a website, and it probably would have been smart for me to write it down. They are their group, their Thursday night group has a website, and it has all of the layouts. It has Dave Barraza's layout on it. It has Howard Dwyer's layout. It has Ron Engel's layout. And then it has John Faraka's Stone Canyon. If you do a search for Stone Canyon, if you do a search for Ron Engel's Great Northern, you should be able to find the website. I believe it is an RS3. I believe this 2099 is an RS3. I'm not an expert in that kind of stuff, so can't really tell you for sure. But I think it is an RS3. Here's a weathered Union Pacific. Here is another view of the city scene, looking from the other side as well. Another city scene picture. And that was the last of John Faraka's. Here we are now. We're going to move on to Howard Dwyer's Island Central. These two gentlemen are both in that Thursday group that operate together. So they both have a similar ops style in that it is fairly relaxed. You follow the car cards, you follow, the instructions, but you don't have like a lot of trains coming at each other from various directions. One thing I do want to point out as well as we get into Howard Dwyer's photos is just if you look at these photos, again, Union Pacific, ATSF, a lot more space. Whereas when we start getting into Howard Dwyer's photos, you'll notice that there is a lot more in a smaller area. Howard Dwyer's was the layout that I went to in the morning on Saturday morning. This layout is also pretty far away from the city, so I ended up staying at a hotel overnight, which made it very easy to get there. As I go through some of Howard's photos, I asked him, was there a specific person you were inspired by? And I named who I thought it would be. As you look at some of these photos, you might be able to tell as well. This layout from Howard Dwyer is a little bit smaller. This is the Island Central Railroad. So he goes from Ronkonkoma to Jamaica. So it is a Long Island-based, East Coast-based layout. Yeah, so people guessed it. People guessed it right away. He is a fan of George Sellios. He actually went up to see George's layout and came back and built one of the structures that George had on his layout. And supposedly it's the only two layouts that have those structures. Stick around if you can. I do have a giveaway coming up at the end, but I do also want to share these photos. Here, I love, he's got some dilapidated buildings on his layout that I thought was a really nice touch as well. Oh, you can go to, if you want to check out all these layouts, you can also go to the Island Ops 2024 website. And there are some photos and some information about all of these layouts on that website as well. I saw this here, and while it is a Long Island lighthouse, I did think of Split Rock when I took this picture. He does have several water scenes on this layout as well. Roy, thank you so much for gifting some memberships. And yeah, There we go. Okay, sound should be back. I don't know why that happened. Apparently, you bring up the shark photo, and I jumped the shark. So yeah, just confirm for a second that we do have audio back. I keep the microphone lav thing in my pocket, and maybe I bumped it. But thanks for letting me know that I lost sound. I'm not sure how long I lost sound for, but this was the second time I went to this layout, which allowed me to relax a little bit more, enjoy it a little bit more, enjoy the operations a little bit more. I noticed the shark last year while I was there as well. Wanted to get a little bit of a better picture of it this year. Again, another example of just some really nice details around the layout. A lot of signs on the sides of buildings. Here's a little oil platform loading. You can see he's got a lot of cars on the layout that he has decaled with the Island Central Railroad on them as well. Yeah, a lot of inspiration this weekend. Here's a little baseball game going on. Looks like this guy got knocked over. I didn't notice that. This was under his elevated. We'll see some more pictures later of the elevated train. I tried to take some photos down, like down the, how do I want to say it? Down the quarter. The corridor. There's certain words that I have a hard time saying. Corridor. We should have sound back. So like I tried to line the camera up so that as we were looking down the corridor, you could see a lot of the the buildings and get kind of a good look at different structures and items along the way. You can kind of see here, like looking down this corridor between the Carnation Milk and Stan's. You can see there's a little bit of street running down that corridor as well. A lot of details on this layout. Here's the elevated train. You can kind of see all the little building tops with the subway on the left there. Here's another photo that I took that was probably a little bit better lined up, but has more of the foreground items in stock as well. Here's a nice example of a railroad crossing on his layout. You can see the road and everything beat up with the, the corridor, this word right here, down the way. Here I am. I shifted over a little bit so you can see that street scene. So it's nice. There's a lot of space that he left open, on the railroad for structures, much more than anything, I left on my layout, being how I designed it. But here, just a great example of the various details as well. I'm not sure the year, Dennis, but that probably sounds about right. Although you look here and you can see a more modern Long Island locomotive here. The roundhouse is, the turntable and the roundhouse are used. Part of some of the trains that you run, you actually have to bring them onto the turntable to turn them around to keep going with your work. Again, another, you can see George Sellios, inspiration. Howard Dwyer is, I believe, in his 80s as well. So, same time, same life experience, not life experiences, but grew up in the same time of George Sellios. This was a DC layout that was eventually converted to DCC. So we were running it, with NCE DCC. So before I get to the next photo, who wants to guess when he started? Bernard, he would love that. If we could make that work, he would absolutely love that. Before I click on the next photo, somebody guess, when did he start building this layout? So he's been, yeah, you can tell he's been building it for a little while. But when did he put the very first screw into the layout to build the layout? So Paul thinks it's a trick question. Bernard says 1985. Andy says 88. Dennis says 82. Jerry says 1960. Lynn says 1945. John says 1963. So now people are just guessing. We're getting some pretty wild guesses. Let's just show the next photo. We can see. So he marked it, and you can still see it on the layout. I think Ed was the closest, but I think Ed's actually been there, so I think Ed knows. The first screw he put in the layout was December 26th, the day after Christmas, in 1978. If you notice, too, it is a flathead screw because that's what was available in those days. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Ma's Place might have been the building that he saw on George Celios's layout and then built one as well for himself. So if I'm not mistaken, yeah, he's been working on this for 46 years. I love that Lynn counts time via wives. Yeah, 5 months older than this layout. Yeah, I mean, he's been working on this layout for almost as long as I've been alive. But I think this is the George Celios building as well. I took a picture of this just because I have my little water area, and I would love to do a tugboat on my layout. And this, you know, just stunning. This, you know, the whole wharf scene. Just plenty of stuff. Bernard, you may have to remind me to remind you. Yes. So Phillips head screws were available, but definitely more commonplace for a flathead, which is just what he had as well. That's a good question, Dennis. Does anybody know when George started his? Because he's also been doing his for a really long time as well. Here's another nice detail. This was a building that obviously experienced a fire. Didn't really experience a fire. He just a fire. He just kind of made that as well. So after Howard Dwyer's layout, we went again to another very different layout as well, and that was at the West Island Club. I've been to the West Island Club. The Island Ops is essentially put on by Jim Schweitzer and some people that also help Jim Schweitzer. Jim is very active in the West Island Club. I forget his exact title, but it's something along the lines of operations supervisor or something like that. So a big part of Island Ops is that everybody at the event heads over to the West Island Club on Saturday afternoon as well. So I've been to West Island, I think 3, maybe 4 times. This might have been my 4th time. All of these layouts that I'm showing are HO scale. Except for my layout, I have never operated on an N-scale layout. My layout's the only N-scale layout I've experienced. All of these are HO scale layouts. We're on slide 57 of 75, so we're almost done. We're about to get to the giveaway. Hang on, we're going to get there in a second. 30 plus operators plus other people. There were a lot of other support people as well. So there were 30 people from Island Ops, and then other guests and other hosts, and other people as well, to get it going. What I focused on this time were photos of some of the paperwork. So this is the Allegheny and Western Railroad. This is one of the timetables that they had posted up there for the passenger trains. I was the passenger drill, so I worked with the passenger yard master, and we would build the passenger trains, and then there was 4 crews that would come and work the various passenger trains around the layout. So this was one of the documents we had available to us to know the order and when the different passenger trains were coming. Here is just a document that they have. I think documents are kind of interesting. If you are new to a layout, all the information that you have is really just in the short briefing that is given when you get there, as well as any paperwork that is provided. So this is some of the instructions that were put together for the Allentown drill operator. Allentown, the person that was the Allentown drill. This was for them, just some general notes about stuff. This was the top of the document for the Allentown passenger station. Kind of showed the 2 main lines, track 1 and 2, that ran past the station that you see in red on the bottom. The Allentown station itself is kind of on the left side of that drawing, and then the coach yard is on the right side of that drawing. Just one of the many documents to kind of help you learn your way around the layout and kind of know what is happening as well. They also had some very large printed out maps as well. This again is, so this map here on the top, this is the same map as well, but printed out much bigger. I actually didn't notice this. No, Lynn, we are going to do the giveaway. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. This was the passenger yard. This is the passenger and coach yard in a much bigger panel. I also wanted to capture, this was the Allentown passenger station, the east end button panel. So there is a double slip switch kind of in the middle of it. And depending on how you were trying to get through that double slip, this was the panel that you would use to get past that double slip. It's very different than how I am building my panel for my double slips, because I have a very hard time with double slips, but I started getting a handle on this panel as we went along and through it. Here's another large map. This is a map showing the Allentown freight yard. On the left side is the hump yard with all of the various hump tracks. On the right side is the Allentown yard itself. The 2 tracks along the bottom are the main line. The main line does a complete loop all the way around the entire layout, and then you have various areas throughout the layout. Here is just one photo of the yard. You can see kind of to the right side, there's a double slip in this yard as well. They used double slips throughout this layout to try and help compress some of the space so that they can get some more, switching and stuff in there. I took a picture of this ethanol plant, or at least I think it's an ethanol plant, just because I know a lot of people build these types of plants on the layouts, and this one was a pretty substantial size plant on their layout. And I took this photo on the way to the car float. I originally wanted to work the car float. The way they pick jobs at this layout is when you get there, you get to pick a ping pong ball. That ping pong ball has a number on it. Depending on your number, you get placed on a list, and when your number comes up on that list, you get to pick what job you want to pick. So there are about 40 people there total or so, or maybe 50 people there total. I ended up with number 37. I wanted a car float job. I was too far down the list to get it, so instead I worked the passenger station. But I did want to take some photos of the car float, just because I do have a car float. I'm going to need to figure out how to do operations on the car float. So I wanted to take some pictures of how they did various things. So you can see they've got signs, one that says currently docked and one that says scheduled. There is also, you can notice in this photo, between the car float and the, well, actually on the, on the bridge to the float. Oh, I'm not showing the photos. Sorry, okay, so I showed that one. Here's the car float. Currently docked, scheduled car floats. So on the transfer bridge, you can see they've got a little sign here. So the float doesn't actually move. The float is fixed in place. The cars move on and on to the float. So to simulate when the float is not there, they put up a sign over the transfer bridge that says the float is not there. They also use these bins. These are the same exact bins that I have, and all of the various car floats are put into these bins, and then they transfer the cars from the bins to the float as an interchange to get them on and off. So I'm kind of doing the right thing. Yeah, so exactly. It's used as staging / interchange, right? So the staging is technically in these bins. The interchange would be the float, and that's how I plan to kind of do it as well. Generally, you can probably do 3 or 4 or more floats in a session. It's a whole job in itself, working the car float. So just like you would bring trains on from a staging yard that was just a long straight track, same kind of thing with the car float. They have a nice little car float scene here, a nice little tugboat with the float. The 2 main lines are the ones that you see kind of in the middle of the photo. Oh, here's a better picture here. No car float at dock. So instead of actually moving the car float, they just add the cars and take away the cars. So those were just drawers, right? So those were just bins that when a train comes and drops cars off onto the car float, you take the cars, you put them in a drawer, and you pull another drawer and put them onto the float. They use what they call the Philly card system. Jim Schweitzer went to Philadelphia and he stole the car card system that they were using. So he calls it the Philly card system. I didn't take a picture of it, but if you look at my Island Ops from last year, you can see a picture of the car cards. They use the car float to cycle cards off the layout for maintenance inspection as one stop of every car's car card. Oh, I didn't realize that's how they were using it. Very interesting. They have 2 tracks onto the car float, whereas I only have 1. So I notice that they have a double crossover here, so you can get from either track. Being as I only have a single track coming down to the car float, doesn't pertain to me, but I just thought it was interesting. The 3 tracks in the center are the yard for the car float. So trains would be staged in that yard, and that would be what's either coming onto the float or coming off of the float. Here again is just some more car cards and stuff of how they sort the cars and the arrival and departure tracks and whatnot. Ah, there you go. So Ed, so last year you got to run Greenville. I do definitely need to, I need to try and run Greenville at one point. So hopefully I will get out there, or hopefully I will have the opportunity at some point to run the car float. Vince Lee, who has a car float on his layout, says, I run his car float so I know how it's done, but I do want to get in as much experience as I can. This is back to the hump yard, and I don't know why this is at the end, but this was a picture of the hump yard showing all the various hump tracks. All the cars are obviously off to the right. You can see here a picture of, this is what the car cards look like. Oh, funny, you were born in Bayonne, so it's almost like being back home. So that's this slideshow. The next thing is the giveaway. Just a little reminder, this is what we're giving away. I do have them right here. When you enter the giveaway, you will have to claim the prize at the end of the giveaway. So when you join the giveaway, don't forget to stay around to claim your prize. Giveaway has started for an HO scale late night hobbies, and I spelled it wrong, of course I did. Late night hobbies structure, and there's the link, type exclamation point late night in the chat, and we're gonna run this for 6 minutes as well. You know, HO scale is great if you have the space. You know, I don't always have the space for it. I have the space for N scale. I'm really enjoying the ops of N scale. It's working significantly better than I thought it was going to work. So I'm very happy about it. But I love operations, and I am at the point where the more layouts that I can get to operate on, the more that I want to get out there and operate. So you need to put exclamation point late night. So Ralph, you're missing the exclamation point. Make sure you do get a response saying that you have entered. We got another 4 minutes. While we are doing this, I'm going to try and get this story out. We'll see how well I get this story out. 10 years ago on March 1st, I decided to get a dog. This was a photo of Kiki from about May 7th. So on May 1st, I decided to get a dog. That dog eventually became Kiki. Took a little while to actually get her. This was the first night of her at home with me, which was on May 19th. So I kind of consider May 1st Kiki's birthday, and these were, you know, some of the first moments with her back in the day. She doesn't look like this anymore. She's an old lady now, probably about 13 years old at this point. But May 1st was kind of when everything started. And the reason I decided to get her on May 1st, for those of you that don't know, my mom passed away back in 1996. May 1st was my mom's birthday. So it was kind of a thing. In May, I've done a couple different things in Mays. In May of 2001, I started a motorcycle trip around the country. And then May, obviously in 2014, I decided to get a dog, kind of looking, you know, forward to things that I wanted to do in life as well, kind of inspired, you know, a little bit, in memory of my mom and that kind of stuff as well. So May 1st, she would have been, I'm not completely sure, either 76 or 77 if she was still alive today. But she passed away in February back in 96. So Kiki is kind of a reminder of her in a certain way, but Kiki is also a big part of my life as a model railroader and my, my introduction to my girlfriend. Just a lot of good things that have happened over the last 10 years. So we got 2 minutes left to enter the giveaway. So if people want to enter, make sure you do see your name up here as well. Ed O'Connell, Paul from Tier Line, John, Adam, Thomas, Dennis, Dragon Ball, Roy, Jerry, Dwight, Steven, JD, John, Dave, Steve, Ron, Russ, Dom, Derek, Ralph, Randy, I'm forgetting Robert's first name, Robert, Felix, and Lynn. So if you want to join, you got another 1.5 minutes, exclamation point, late night. But yeah, so May 1st is kind of what I count as the gotcha day a little bit, even though I didn't technically get her until May 19th. It was the day that I chose to get her as well. Ralph, I don't know. My dad actually has asked me that before as well. I don't know how I remember all of the names. Some of it is that, a lot of these people are members of the channel. People support the channel as members, which has been really great, allowed me to do a lot of the things that I, wouldn't have necessarily been inspired to do to some extent, but the inspiration and the support definitely keeps me going as well. Dennis, I'm going to do another couple of giveaways. I've got 3 more Late Night Hobbies kits, one which will be given away tonight. Whoever wins tonight, which we'll find out in 10 seconds, make sure you claim your prize, but then send me an email and let me know which one of the kits that you want. I've been showing the picture that shows the various different kits as well. Looks like Roy Container Man has won, so type in exclamation point claim to claim it. JD, you cannot claim it. Only Roy can claim it. Roy has 60 seconds to type in exclamation point claim. If he doesn't type in exclamation point claim in 60 seconds, it will go to somebody else. So Roy, if you're paying attention, type it in or you're gonna lose it. Ah, there we go. He got it in there. He got it in there. Congrats, Roy. You've won. So these 3 kits are the 3 kits that are left. Email me, let me know which kit you would like. Thank you for sharing this, May 1st with me. Thank you for letting me honor my mom by sharing that story with everybody. I do really appreciate everybody's support. And yeah, I mean, the support that I get from the people that watch me on YouTube allow me to really do and be who I am. So I couldn't do and be who I am without the support of what people on YouTube give back to me. So thank you so much for all of that. From the city that never sleeps, farewell, model citizens. And that's the wrong one.
It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity.